For today's video, I wanted to talk about the three massive problems that a majority of American farmers and ranchers are facing. Now, number one is they don't know their numbers. Now, if I were to sit across from you and literally ask you the question, how on top of your finances are you? And you had to answer honestly, what would you say? Well, the truth is that 95% of farmers and ranchers today would say, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, which means their only strategy every single year is we are guessing or ultimately hoping and praying that things work out long term. Now, guys, inside a legacy farmer, that is not the way that we operate here. With our customers here that come in, they're coming in because they've lived in this world of financial chaos and disorganization for a long time, some of them decades, and they're sick and tired of this, right? They're sick and tired of flying blind every single year here when they're trying to make critical decisions that ultimately impact the overall success or failure of their operation, right? They have a family at home to worry about. They have the next generation to worry about, and they are tired of just flying blind and hoping and praying that things work out. They want to have a sound and structured and specific strategy for their operation next year, and this ultimately comes down to getting yourself structured and organized financially so that when you look at your numbers, you're making sound business decisions, not just, again, guessing and hoping and praying that things work out. Problem number two is a majority of farmers and ranchers want their kids to come back to the operation. They want to give them that opportunity, but deep down they struggle with this because do they really want to just hand over a debt-ridden operation to their kids? Because now when we think about this, when your kids are coming back, and let's go back to and play a little scenario for you. When you came back to the operation, you were in your mid-20s or whatever it may be, and let's say the family wanted you to come back and take over the operation. Would you want to come back and just take over a mountain of debt like a majority of family farm operations are in today? Probably not, right? You're already starting way underneath the water there when you come back and take over that type of operation, right? You're already drowning there trying to get up, and you're just trying to tread water there and get to where you can actually breathe year after year. And if you're starting there and you're coming in and the operation is 70% debt to asset ratio, and that's where you're starting at, it's going to be years, if not decades, until you can finally breathe. And again, a majority of parents today, when they want their kids to come back to the operation, it's a tough question to answer because deep down, they don't want them to come back because of the debt, but also too, they don't want them to come back and experience the stress and anxiety that their parents have experienced for years, because that stress and anxiety obviously is going to bleed over into other really important areas of your life, like how you are as a husband or wife, or how you are as a parent, or how you are as a leader inside of your community as well. Problem number three that a majority of farmers and ranchers face today is they do not know how to pass down the operation to the next generation and keep it sustainable and ultimately keep it intact so the next generation can be successful with it. Because a majority of family operations today maybe have 3 or 4 kids, and 1 or 2 of them may be interested in come back to the operation. And then the other kids may not, right? The other scenario that would come into play as well is maybe all your kids are interested in come back to the operation, but when you go from the operation supporting 1 family to now supposedly supposed to start supporting up to 4 families, it's just not going to work financially, right? So you got to be really setting hard boundaries here when you're talking about with your kids coming back to the operation on. There's going to be certain standards here. Now, let's say we run through the scenario of having only 1 or 2 kids that want to come back, and then we have 2 kids that don't. The biggest problem that farmers are going to face here is that they try to distribute farm assets evenly between all of the kids. Well, you have 2 kids that don't want anything to do with it, and most likely they just want the cash. And the problem is, though, is that if you set it up to where the kids that do want the operation have to buy out the other ones, then your farm is paying for itself twice, right? So obviously that's not going to work here. So you have to consider different structures here and different scenarios where you can pass on the assets to the kids, for the farm assets to the kids that actually want to come back and take over the operation, while supplying maybe a life insurance policy or something like that to the other kids so that they get the cash that they want so it can be successful there. Now, the other scenario that we talked about was all the kids coming back to the operation and the operation literally not being able to support or go from supporting 1 family up to 4 families. That's obviously not going to work there. So another requirement then, and this is something we talk about in Legacy Farmer all the time as well, is making sure that if your kids do all want to come back, okay, great. They have to go build a business that runs alongside our operation. Maybe it's a trucking business, maybe it's a custom business, whatever that is. Now, this is going to be massively beneficial because we want to teach them to be independent, right? To not need money from the operation, but also too to be able to contribute to the operation by having this other source of income and everything there as well. Now, from this, you're going to get a lot of benefits, but the primary one is you are going to make your kids learn how to be business owners, right? And have to build their own thing. I think we can all agree that when you're trying to run and build your own business, there's a lot of stress involved, right? The type of person you are when you first start your business compared to the person you are 5 years into it, completely different person, right? There is development happening across the board there from a personal perspective and also from a professional perspective in your kids when you're forcing them to do that. And it's just going to be great for them. And now they're going to learn all the business skills that it takes when they're building their own business, and they're going to be able to transition those and use those when it comes to actually taking over the family operation there. And guess what? You don't have to destroy the family operation as well, and each kid can come back and supply their own source of income and things like that. So guys, that concludes today's video. I hope you found it valuable. We'll catch you on the next one.